Welcome back, everyone, to the Intel Extreme Masters here at Gamescom 2015. We've already gone through one map, which means one team is now left with only 3 lives, and that team is TSM. And to celebrate that moment, we, of course, have a player from Envy joining us here on the desk. Welcome, Happy. Obviously, you've got to feel pretty good about that win. We talked briefly with you on the stage, but how does it feel to start off knowing that you've taken a life off of TSM already?
It's a huge confidence boost because when you lose a game so early in the tournament, usually you are in big trouble. So, and TSM is obviously like a top contender here, so it's pretty great for us.
Yeah, now let's talk about that match a little bit before we go on to the next matchup. Overall, I mean, you guys were discussing, before we got into the match, are we going to see a little bit more fast-paced games here from both teams? Natu and Anders, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you want to ask Happy anything about that and how that played out?
I mean, yeah, it seemed to me like actually both teams were playing a lot faster on the terrorist side. I remember at ESWC in Montreal, obviously you guys were basically rushing for 15 rounds, which is kind of funny. But I still thought actually because it worked so well in Montreal, I thought maybe some teams are going to think, okay, maybe we should play a little bit faster on T side, Cobblestone. And I mean, it seemed to work pretty well for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, we have a philosophy, envious usually, and myself as in-game leader to like play fast and, you know, finish a round in like 30 seconds sometimes. But in this game, we didn't really play that fast on this side. I mean, Q and us and me, we just playing on B and just trying to like, with tricks, to get some kills, some easy kills. And we managed to like, really got a lot of kills, just the 2 of us. So it will free up the A side and open it up for the rest of the team to just go in and play advantageous situation.
I noticed already in the 4th round, you were picking up the AWP and Kenny didn't have one, and I saw JW was already tweeting saying, wow, all right, already Happy's taken over this role. How does that work within the team? Because obviously you've been OPing in the past on Envy, even when you had Shocks there to do it as well. So yeah, how does that work out? How does the roles split with the OPing?
Well, there is specific round. I mean, for this one, I just had more money and I needed an op in B because they were doing like the always smoke and just try to push up. But usually I'm just the second main oper and Kenny is the first, so not a lot of problem.
Right on. So a little bit more situational. Now let's talk about the map as a whole. And then going into this, Natu and Anders were discussing how Cobble's still a little bit of an interesting map. Nothing seems to be completely figured out yet. And of course, when you guys were on CT side, we had a neat little trick by you guys, Busi on that statue. But Natu and Anders, you guys were saying, that's great if it works out. But how good is it if it doesn't? Happy, what are your thoughts?
I never played B side, so I'm still learning. I think I made a lot of mistakes as silly. And yeah, Kyo told me about this boost, and I think it's pretty good to counter people coming alone through the smoke, because it's just one-on-one and you have pretty good advantage boosted out. But yeah, it's not my favorite tricks. This time it didn't work out, so...
I mean, I was just wondering if there was like a plan B. It's obviously if you hit a headshot on the first guy coming in for the smoke, then that's great. But if you don't, then you're sort of stuck behind the statue, and then you need like a plan B to get away from it. It seemed like you guys didn't have that, so it kind of...
Plan B is just to kill people.
All right,
that's how it works.
I see.
How did that first half feel from your point of view? For me, it felt like, because it came down to so many close rounds, in the end, it felt like you should have been up something like 10-5 instead of being down. How did it seem from your point of view?
As I said in pre-game, we didn't play the map like at all, like maybe 1 time or 2. And I just said at the beginning of the match to the team, okay, let's just grind out as CD. This map is T-sided. I know I can win a lot of rounds as T. So let's just play our game and try to not make any mistakes. Of course we did at CD, but I think we did a pretty good T-half, even if they had like a comeback or whatever. But globally it just went as I expected to be.
Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely outdrove, and then, like you said, on T side, you guys definitely pushed through, secured that win pretty easily. Now to overall, I mean, how did you view that game? And obviously we have Happy here, so maybe we're going to get some PC answers from you. But overall, with the Envious lineup coming in that first game, how do you feel about their lineup, and do you have anything you want to ask them about how that's working out, the chemistry between those guys?
No, but from my point of view, like I said, right after the match, I think, you know, they're going to need Apex to really play these good matches. And my problem with the lineup is just him, if he's able to actually consistently do this kind of effort matches where he's because he has consistency issues. I think everyone would agree that has watched any Counter-Strike ever that he's a very inconsistent player. So, like, have you guys actually talked about this kind of things? Like, does he acknowledge himself that he's a really up and down player?
No, I don't think he acknowledged that at all. But I told him when they came to the team, I told them that when they were in Titan, they showed good stuff, but the main issue was their inconsistency.
Yeah.
And I told them also that I will not rely on individual performance like Kenny has had way back in time, but they just need to have like the minimum level, and it's not like only skill and headshots. It's like comms, focus and stuff. It's everything, and for now they are showing that they can really be on top.
Yeah, definitely a good start for you guys here at the Intel Extreme Masters. For all of you guys at home, if you missed the game at all, then go over to Plays.tv over to catch the highlights and the defining moments of that game, and throughout the whole week, all of the highlights you want to see from our CSGO tournament here at the Intel Extreme Masters. Now, let's move on. Happy you did have that choice on stage well, you kind of had the choice on what map gets played, but then you had the choice on which two teams played. Now, we found out it was going to be Dust 2. Immediately, you're like, all right, I want Mousesports to play. And then you thought a little bit of our opponent. What was your thought of process here? I mean,
I didn't know that we've been told the map beforehand. So when I heard about Dust 2, I wanted Mouse obviously on every map because I think they are the third best contender here. And I wanted to play them CRG. But when I heard it was Dust 2, I think CRG are not that great on Dust 2. And I think Renegades actually have a better shot at playing Mousesports on the Dust 2.
I see. So you're trying to set something up here for Mousesports to have a tougher time.
Yeah.
Because you think they're going to be the up-and-coming rival in this tournament. I like it. I'm already seeing this play out. I like it. Natu, what are your thoughts on the matchup? Is there anything you want to ask about Happy? Because we were talking, of course, about Mousesports on Dust 2 and how that could work out really well for them.
When it comes to Mousesports and Dust 2, we've seen it's a map that has really fast rotations, has the possibility of doing a lot of fakes, and you can do so many things. And on top of that, we've had Nex going on God mode on Dust 2 recently as well. So I think definitely when you have Dust 2 and you have these choice of teams, I think the Mousesports is a given. For me, choosing their opponent would have been actually really hard out of the teams that I have the option to choose from. I think Renegades is an interesting choice just because we don't really get to see them play that much to begin with.
Right.
It's a team, I feel like they have a lot of potential as a team, a lot of individual skill for sure. I think what they really need is to have more time playing against European teams and, NA teams as well, to just basically have the possibility to meet teams to see how other teams, how their gameplay really match ups against different teams. So for me, it's a bit of an unknown right now. I don't really know how I feel these two teams going against each other.
Anders, what about you? Mousesports going up against Renegades, of course. That seems to be the talking point now.
Yeah, I think it's smart to try and make Mousesports lose lives early on. I think they're a really strong contender. I actually really want to ask Cap. I mean, I think first of all it's going to be an interesting match. I think Mousesports are definitely favorites, but certainly Renegades are a very strong team, and they have some pretty tremendous individual skill as well. So I actually expect it to be a really close game, especially on Dust 2. But how scared are you of Mousesports right now? I mean, Goppy seems to be able to outstrat a lot of teams, even top teams. So you think there's a chance that it could be Mousesports making it to the end with a lot of lives?
I definitely think Gobi is a great addition to Mousesports because they have been struggling for years now, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know, they seem inconsistent as well sometimes. They lost to HR, which is really a big surprise to me. And yeah, they are maybe favorites here, but I really want to see them play consistently good and see them not playing good people consistently as well. So this event is a great test for them.
I'm wondering, does that mean automatically that SK is playing CLG now?
No. So interesting point that you bring up. So neither of the next two teams can play in Game 3, but we could very well see one of Envy or TSM playing the other two teams, right? So how it works is we have two very specific side rules. Just in case, you guys need to follow very closely. This is very important. Two side rules. The one that's most priority is in every match, one of the teams has to have the lowest common denominator in terms of matches played. So for instance, in this one,
All
right,
right.
You two played, there were 4 teams with 0 matches, it didn't matter. But next one, there will still be 2 teams with 0 matches played. So one of them has to play, but not both.
Okay,
so we
okay.
could very well see whoever wins. Maybe Mousesports wins and they're like, we saw what she did. We want Envy to have a harder time. We want them to play against one of these teams. At the same time, maybe they think the matchup is favored for certain teams. So
Yeah, I would definitely choose TSM because they've already lost 1 life, so you know have the potential that they only have 2 left after today.
I absolutely wouldn't. If whoever wins this match, I would put CLG and SK against each other.
Oh, just play it out.
No, because I would be 100% sure that whoever wins that match will pick Envy and TSM to play again. Because then the 2 best teams just keep facing each other. I'd absolutely do that all day.
How do you feel about that, if it plays out that way?
You shouldn't have told them.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I mean, it's out there. Now, let's assume, though, I mean, that could very well play out, right? Maybe your first 4 matches in this tournament are all up against TSM. It could happen. Do you think you could also be the ones to then take out all the lives from TSM?
That will mean we will play only TSM on 4 maps.
Right, on the
different
first
maps.
4, yeah.
I don't know. It's strange, to be honest. I don't know. I really don't know.
You could play Cobblestone 4 times against TSM.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, we could see that, right? That's kind of the fun. In some ways, I mean, it can really be the spin-off here for this tournament is we don't know what matchups we're going to see. We could see the repeats. We could see all different maps. Same maps could play out, like you just said, Anders. Should be fun. But let's talk a little bit about, I mean, TSM, we talked very briefly about your matchup and how you played Cobble against them. But overall, how do you feel about TSM right now as a whole, right? They're a huge talking point in the whole community and, of course, the professional scene. A lot of people are saying they're rising up to be maybe competing for that best spot in the world. What is your assessment of TSM?
They definitely were contesting for the top spot, but they had a big failure at their Story Cup. I don't know exactly his name. And it was really strange as well. Like, no one expected that because everyone was seeing them at top 2 in the world. So, I don't know, maybe there's still some inconsistency left in TSM playbook. And that's what made them famous at some point. They were choking, right? And who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they've had to take some time off as well this summer with school commitments and things like that. So there's been periods of time when they've not been able to play as much as the other teams, perhaps. So maybe, I don't know, it could be a combination of things where they're trying to figure some things out, try to regenerate some tactics and things like how they want to play and how they want to do things, and the fact that they haven't been able to play as much as some of the other teams.
All right. Just to interrupt real quick, I forgot a part of the rules. Silly me, but you can, in at least the beginning stages, right? You can only play 1 map per day, like overall. So you won't play TSM Cobble every time. We're sorry. We've raised your hopes on that one, and we just crushed it right away. Well, like, it could happen. Actually, no, it can't. So you'll have to be prepared on the other maps for sure. But you know, keeping it a little bit diverse. Of course, we could see we could set that play out for other matchups at the same time. But again,
it's a good rule, though. I mean,
yeah, because then, I mean, at that point, if the fan bases really come out in power, we could see some very skewed matches for certain teams, right?
Actually, that does remind me, if people are voting out there and they want you guys to win, which map should they be voting for?
I want to say Inferno, but yeah, just say Inferno.
All right. So if you're an Envy fan out there, Inferno is a good one to spam Twitter with.
Yeah, keep that in mind. If everyone follows Anders' strategy, maybe we'll see that for match number 4, and you'll have to vote for Inferno.
What's your, just curious here, what's your mindset coming in here? Like, how do you see this tournament yourself?
Myself, just as a test for Cologne, for the major, because the field is like really deep. Like, you have TSM, really good team. Mousesports is like mid-tier team. And Renegades, CLG, we don't really know what kind of levels they can bring on. So it's really good because you have a diversity of teams and you play against any type of matchup. So preparation. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course. On that note, I mean, CLG also just getting through those qualifiers to secure that spot at ESL1 Cologne, and they're here. So, maybe a little bit of travel tiredness for them, but at the same time, they're going to be here to prove themselves. I mean, I think that's how a lot of people are viewing this, even at home, is how does this match up kind of as a preview teaser going into that majors in Cologne when we return here in a couple of weeks. But for now, on stage, we have OJ getting ready for match number 2. It's going to be between Renegades and Mousesports.
It is indeed. I wanted to get a few thoughts of a couple of the other players as well. First off, Dupree of TSM. Talk me through that match. It was a tough one for you.
I don't know. It was not really the start that we wanted to get here. We played pretty, we got off to a really good start, I think, and we got 7 rounds as terrorists. It was more than enough for us. And then as CT, we just crumbled. We figured out way too late what to do, and we didn't adapt to their play style, and then they just outplayed us, simple like that. So kudos to them.
They came at you with some really ballsy plays.
One more time?
They came at you with they were really aggressive.
Yeah, they were. They didn't really do anything super duper insanely tactic-wise, but it was just, they just worked out together, and they got the entry kills a lot of the times, and they just out-rotated us, and then we just didn't adapt, and yeah, that's why we lost.
Well, you said it's not the greatest way to start a tournament, whatever the tournament, whether it's a fun tournament like this or a round robin. What do you do when you've had a loss? How do you regroup?
Well, we were talking together. People had to get out with some frustrations as well. But we talked through what was going on, what we had to, because we might play Cobblestone again tomorrow, so we had to figure out what we're going to do better next time. Then, we've tried it a lot before, losing one game. We just have to ignore it, work on the mistakes and then just keep going.
And how much do you have one eye on the next big major, which is in Cologne in a few weeks' time? How much does everything you do here affect what happens there?
Well, obviously this tournament is for us, it means a lot in terms of we want to get a good confidence. We just had a really bad tournament at the AC Predator Masters, so we want to kind of redeem ourselves. So it's all about confidence for us, and actually we're showing that it was just a really poor performance. So yeah, we just want to bounce back.
And just a word on Gamescom, which is where we are. It's so loud here.
Yeah, it is really loud here, but the setup here is really great. It's really, it's probably the best setup I've played at in a long time. So that's good work.
Dupree, thank you very much. Now, somebody who's had a very easy time of it so far, Casper from SK Gaming. You've just been sitting around, drinking Walker, having a good time.
Yeah, well, basically we came in pretty late. We knew that we weren't going to be picked for this next matchup, since TSM and Envious are seen as the 2 best teams in the tournament. Mousesports probably as the 3rd. So we knew that Mousesports was going to be instant picked, and then it was going to be Renegades or CLG. So we felt kind of safe for the first 2 matches, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the next game is going to bring for us.
You were talking about the rankings of the other teams. Do you like being the underdog?
Well, I mean, if we were our full lineup, I'm sure that some of the teams would maybe fear us on some maps, even though we would still be the underdog in the entire tournament. And now we brought in a stand-in since one of our players is on vacation or holidays. And I mean, yeah, I like it. I mean, we don't mind it. We can just play our game. We're going to play very loose. We're going to do defaults, random strategies, and our opponents should be ready for everything.
And what is it like not knowing when you're going to play, not knowing what map you're going to play, and not knowing who you're going to play?
It's very interesting, to say the least, because you don't know when you have to be ready, when you have to be in that mental state of now we have to crush the opponent. Not only that, you don't know who you're going to play and what map you're going to play on. And a lot of things, like how the match is, what outcome it's going to have, depends on who you play and what map you're going to play. So, I mean, you just have to be prepared for everything. I think that's the best answer.
Well, that's it. Because this is so different to other tournaments where you know who you play and you can plan things ahead, does it maybe fall to a team like yours who know how to think on the fly?
Well, I don't know, we had 2 days of practice with our stand-in, and our strategy was to play every map once or twice. So for us, it doesn't really matter what map we're gonna play. Neither does the opponent. We just have to try and be on point individually, be a bit lucky, and maybe it will turn out great for us, who knows.
And how this tournament plays out, it's down to the teams themselves, because obviously the winner chooses the next 2 teams to play. You might not tell me this. Do you have any alliances here with the other teams?
Maybe you have 1 alliance, maybe you have 2, you never know, that's all I can say.
Well, Casper, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Let's go back to Chobra to get ready for this next matchup.
All I know is you just have to be born ready. You can't sit there and be like, well, you don't know when you need to get ready to play the next match and beat your opponents. If you're just born ready, then you're ready for every matchup, anytime. That would be my strategy coming in, but obviously I'm not on the stage, so what do I know, right?
Yeah.
Coming into this one. But some interesting talking points from the teams. I mean, of course, kind of hinting maybe we have some alliances, maybe not. I mean, you had a nice little giggle about that. What's going through your head there, Anders?
I don't know. I'm trying to get, there's like a whole Game of Thrones thing going on here. It's just who's got the right alliance with the right people. There's no weddings here, so I mean, I don't know if everyone's going to get killed, but certainly there is. There's room for something.
There definitely is. Yeah, and I'm hoping by the time we get to like 4 teams, at some point you're gonna have to start breaking those alliances, right? Because you want to be the winning team. Maybe you set each other up a little bit. We'll see maybe some repeat matches. Because once you go to 4 teams, you could have back-to-back matches, depending, or 3 teams even.
Here's the scary part. What if you make an alliance with someone and you say, okay, you pick this team for us, and then we'll pick this team for you. So then the first part of the alliance goes through. When it comes to the second part, you just say, well, actually, no, you're going to be playing this other team instead.
Yeah, it's that double standards.
It could happen. You could also lose that match and not have the power to continue the alliance.
I would absolutely do that. By the way, I would have my fingers crossed, and I'd be like, yeah, we're doing it. Let's do it. And then, that would be hilarious.
Well, aren't we glad that you're there on stage
it's
taking part
buddy.
of that?
I think it's better to you.
Yeah, glad we don't have that kind of system here on the panel, like who gets to stay on the desk, who has to leave every rotation. Just keeps me on the desk the whole time without choice. And
that's for next IEM. You get to vote the panelists off on Twitter slowly.
Well, at the same time, it's not too bad, right? You get to go eat at a leisurely time if you're not on the desk, if you're not always on the desk. There's definitely a double standard there, too. Sometimes you want to stay, but at the same time, some time off is not so bad during these long events. As OG was saying, I mean, here at Gamescom, I'm starting to get affected by it, too. It's really loud.
Oh, yeah.
It's very loud.
It's hard for the players as well. This is a good thing to point out, actually. For the players, having years of experience myself going to this kind of exhibitions like this where it's just loud everywhere and this kind of sound level just eats energy from your body. So
that's true.
Pro tip to teams, please go outside, enjoy the sun, do something else for a while when you're not playing. That will really going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, actually,
that's a legit tip.
That was actually a tip I got from Red Eye with the first time I was here. He said, don't talk inside because you'll kill your voice after a while because you don't realize you're doing it, but you're talking at the top of your throat everywhere. So go outside and talk.
Yeah, it's nice that we at least have these headsets for now. But yeah, when we're not on screen, we do end up shouting at each other, and then we have to like listen to backstage what production's saying to us, and it gets all a little crazy. So yeah, that's actually a good tip, both for commentators and of course players. I didn't really think about that, but ladies and gentlemen, match number 2 is about to start. Don't forget, tell us who you think is going to win, who's going to lose their life next year. Match number 2 between Mousesports and Renegades. It is on Dust 2. That's hashtag IEM on Twitter. Of course, you can go over to Facebook and our YouTube channel to catch highlights, VODs, and also just discussion on those matches. But it looks like we'll be loading up the knife round here in a little bit. So we talked briefly, but let's just lay it out on the line. Yeah, as we see the knife round playing out. Who do you guys think? I mean, do you think Mousesports is going to pull through here?
I think more likely than not, to be honest with you. I have more evidence to go behind Mousesports than I do Renegades, to be honest with you. Still, Renegades, I mean, we've seen them do upsets here and there. Like they beat our NIP on train at the GP event, for example, and a bunch of other teams. I think they went 1-on-1 against Fnatic as well, things like that. So there's obviously a lot of potential in this team, but it's just a matter of consistently playing against the top tier, like the really high-level teams, is very important. And they haven't really had the opportunity to play consistently against this type of teams. So I think that's one thing where I would hope that they get the opportunity to either move to NA or Europe and consistently practice and play against teams, or have like extensive boot camps where they get to play against the top tier teams. So it's a bit of a question mark. And Mousesports, we've seen a sign of improvement. They've been really good. Yeah. And they just only keep improving all the time. So I think they're a very dangerous team to play.
All right. Well, they did eventually win that knife round. Renegades almost clutched it with a 1v3, but Mousesports does win the knife round. They get the selection as we go into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Mousesports versus Renegades on Dust 2, selected by Happy from Envy.
Thank you very much, Chobra and the guys. And great to hear a lot of words from Happy as well.
Yeah, a lot of questions answered, a lot of the community maybe getting a little bit of an idea of where they're currently at, and it's always good to kind of catch up with them as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was the time we really wanted to talk to him. Obviously, a lot of the guys from MV, a lot of people focus on them, and they started off very well, but now we're on to the next game. As they just pointed out, Mousesports versus Renegades. Just saw Mousesports, very long knife round actually.
Chris J, not letting that one, he's just keeping hold of that one.
But, you know, we're at the Intel Extreme Masters, we're in Gamescom, we're in Germany, we've got a German team, and we're on Dust 2.
But no, the thing is, I think people forget that Renegades used to love Dust 2. When they first came to the majors, when we all did the chat, when we sat down, like, okay, talk to me about your comfort maps. If you could ideally play your maps, what would your picks be? And they're like, okay, Cache, or Cache, as Sponge did call it, or Diggity, I don't know, it could be anywhere. But the second map they always would go to was Dust 2. Now, they barely got a chance to play at an international level because most teams would just get rid of Dust 2 because it was always a bit dangerous. But I think Renegades, they're not in a bad position here. I actually think they could cause a little danger. Now, I've not seen them in a while on Dust 2 personally. Whereas Mouse, you can look at and go, all right, these guys are pretty hot on this one. But I still think Renegades actually don't have a bad map to do something on here.
They're just restarting the server, so they'll be back in a second. But yeah, like you say, I mean, that guy on your screen there, Chris J, is definitely going to be a challenge for them. Now, Yam, of course, the new man that joined Renegades, alongside Havoc there with the beautiful beard, are going to be the guys that will be looking to challenge him. They kind of switch it up between the AWP. As far as I recall, Yam is still the main AWPer, but Havoc does tend to pick it up quite a lot. I had a good chat with these guys when I was in Malaysia, of course, when they were going for the ESL 1 offline qualifiers. And as you mentioned, their current home maps is actually Inferno and Cache, or Cache, as they call it, over in the Australia. I was about to call it something else there, but I want to be politically correct.
See, the thing is that their Inferno game before is okay, but then it never compared to the European ability of it. You look at any good team on you classically say on Inferno, they would eclipse someone like Renegades. You saw a couple of upsets. I think it was actually Dignitas back in the day that they picked up a really good game against, but then it just kind of decided to tumble away. And they don't have they previously didn't have that depth. Now they've been playing a lot together. They're starting to get some really good results here and there, and everyone always has that little glimmer of hope towards Renegades. There is that team that can do well. So I don't write them out in these tournaments, especially on this map. I'd say out of all of them, I don't think this is a bad choice. I think maybe something like Inferno would have worked, but then again, do you want the mind of God be against you on a map like that?
Yeah,
probably not.
I definitely count them as the underdogs. There's no doubt about it.
Oh God, yeah.
They're coming into this one.
There's no need to say it. Almost.
Everybody saw Nex performing out of his mind on B site back at, it was Face It, wasn't it? It was at back in DreamHack. And of course, you got Chris J, the Factor, and of course, Mousesports. Dust 2 is, I assume, still a home map. It used to be. I don't know, actually, since this lineup has changed quite a lot. But it's effectively still, I would say, it's not an all-German lineup. There is a couple of nationalities in there now, but effectively they all can speak German, and I'm actually not too sure what comms they speak.
German.
Actually. It is all German, isn't it?
Well,
it is all
not the
German
only
comms.
reason, but he wanted to be able to call it in German.
Despite the fact, obviously, Chris J is in there, he's Dutch, but
Chris J
Dutch to German, very easy,
to be fair. But yeah, for me, the one factor about Chris J as well was it wasn't just everyone kind of classed him as that very classic AWPer, or not even classic, but it was quite flashy AWPer. And he has obviously the scout, but actually his rifle game was really good on Dust as well, and that kind of impressed me. Alongside, of course, Nex, who just went on a tear. So it's like you have this really strong combination with them, but. Again, to me, Mouse has a really nice balance currently of players. You've got Nex, who's like this kind of can go off on a tear, superstar player that can just really achieve some phenomenal things as an individual. You have Chris J, another kind of big hitter with the AWP, has that presence there. And you have Godby as well, this beautiful mind behind it all. That's an actually really nicely balanced team. You look at Renegades, they don't have something too dissimilar. They have great in-game leading as well. They have very good talent behind them. And I just want to see how well they now do in these sort of events.
Yeah, and they're one of the teams that have improved steadily but surely. They started out back in May when the lineup formed. Obviously the 3 members from Penta came across to Mousesports, and since then their results have been getting stronger and stronger since the beginning of the Pro League. Meanwhile, of course, you do see Chris J ready to go there along with the rest of the team.
Yeah, and to be completely honest with you, I'm not surprised that they're trying to get rid of Mousesports at the moment. The likes of TSM and Envy both kind of targets them a little bit. TSM actually have a very shaky record against them recently. But let's turn our attention to the game because we are live into this one. Spitty and Chris J going for that early cat control, pushing down towards short. But on the other side of things, a T side looking towards long and Gobby waiting back towards site.
You can see them set up. 4 people in around long. Havoc is Azza, I forgot. I can't remember he is his actual name that they refer to him of. Azza. You got to get your little Australian twang in there when you say it as well instead
really?
of AZR. That is actually what that's like. And I asked him, like, how do I really pronounce your name? You've got a lot of initials going on here. But here we go. It's going to be a push straight to God B. That's a great flash coming out from God B, but Spitty's only managed to get one down. Sponge with a grenade, finding the mark on God B. And now Spitty tucked in the corner. They know exactly where he is. He's pinned off, but he's managed to get himself another headshot. That's a triple so far. Spitty doing great work. Next comes around the side, and this should be cleanup duty. It is. Mouse will take themselves a great pistol round. Spitty in the corner. They knew he was there, but he still managed to get himself a double headshot, followed by the one from long.
Yeah, Spitty's play then was something that you're not going to be able to repeat all that often. Well, you shouldn't be able to, but currently the pistol form these teams are coming into is really quite darn good. You look at the last game, we saw Envy with those P250s. We saw, I think it was Dupree as well, going on a bit of a mission with his pistol as well. It's, you know, it's just really nice to watch. But yeah, like the play from Spitty. I love the way that more often than not we see Mousesports doing the short control. They love playing alongside that as well. I used to love when they did the double stack. They used to boost Chris J up so he could kind of peek down in towards those lower B tunnels. And they always like the way Mouse like to keep some control of the map, and they'll actually go a little aggressive for it as well.
You can see, obviously, we're just waiting for God B to get back in there and restarted his client. Dennis already going for an M4, though, in round 2. That's aggressive stuff early on. We'll see whether SMGs get folded up, see what Renegades go with. They're on your screens right now. Set up here. We are in Gamescom. It is in Hall 8, not Hall 9, as I walked into the wrong one earlier on.
Well, that's where it kind of used to be.
We do also have
event,
ESL stages in there, so it did confuse me a little bit. We are in Hall 8 down the end there if you are coming to the venue over the next 4 days. It is press day today, so I believe it opens up to the public at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I think so.
Onwards, so obviously it will start to fill out then, but then the next couple of days will be completely full. And well, the Zen from Chris J apparently is helping. Like you say, you know, Chobra complaining about the noise earlier on. This is the quiet day. This is nice, relaxing day.
It's Gamescom is something unto itself. You don't get events that sound like this, you know. It's ridiculously
even
loud.
Natu said, it's like, I've been here before, but I've never realised actually how big Gamescom is.
Because normally when you're a player or a caster, you are contained to where you are, right? You're sat in your little booth, or, you know, you go to the player area, the warm-up area, you maybe, you know, take a step outside. But you forget there's probably like 15 halls of this, just kind of like
monster halls as well.
Just rinse and repeat of the same thing with just a lot of people in there. So it's extraordinarily busy. It is very loud. But then again, you know, it's not the first time these guys will be experiencing this. Renegades themselves have been to a Gamescom before.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if Mouse have.
Back at ESL 1 Cologne, you're thinking, aren't you? Mouse were there. I'm pretty sure Mouse were there.
Obviously not in the same sort of bomb, but... And also
Mouse,
the Meisterschaft as well.
Mouse also have to actually play in the Meisterschaft on Sunday as well. So they'll
be veterans by the time they get there.
Tournaments at Gamescom this weekend. This is the Intel Extreme Masters. This is the one that counts. This is the $90,000 up for grabs, $45,000 to the winner. And it's all about knocking the lives off your opponents. TSM already 1 life down. You see the admins having a good old chat with God B. I don't know what's going on there. They're sorting themselves out. So I didn't actually catch
a couple of technical
the communications, what the players were talking about. So
game tabbed out.
Game tabbed out.
Yeah.
That's right. So when he was on platform. Oh, I wonder if we're going to get a rematch, re-round then.
No.
Oh, somewhere mid-round. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just tabbed out for him. So admins are looking for fix. Graham looks perplexed, but.
Referee shirt that he's got on there. At least they get them shirts now. I bet he's got his shorts on. He still will have. But anyway, shorts aside.
But actually, let me also start talking about this one as well, because I had this big chat with Sponge before. It wasn't Katowice. It was probably ESL Cologne, I think. ESL 1 Cologne. And we were kind of discussing at the time, he was one of the early people who actually did buy the Mac 10. He was one of those kind of people that started he didn't start the SMG trend. The game kind of started supporting it a hell of a lot more, but he saw the theory crafting behind it, and it was actually his play on short they used to bring through with the Mac 10. The man on your screen right there, and it used to catch so many people off. Like, these guys, I really like these guys on this map. Now, first round, when Spitty does what he does like that, it's very hard to account for. You can't always depend on that happening. You can't always keep that into a factor, but I honestly think Renegades could cause some trouble here. Mousesports are 100% the favorites. No one can doubt Nex or Godby's ability to call, but I think there could have been worse maps here.
Yam's actually grown a mustache since I last saw him a couple of weeks back. Do you think he was feeling a little inadequate with Havoc's beard there? Sponge obviously used to have that one going on. It's like, I need some facial hair. I'm in this team now. I'm the new member. I need to get something going on. But they are sorting themselves out. Hopefully we'll get back in. I can still see the admins just to the right of the screen there. Chris J is sat waiting. Oh, it means we're going to go to a break. It's always a disappointment when we have to go to a break.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah. It is Mousesports versus Renegades, ladies and gentlemen.
Lemon
Extreme
grade.
Renegades. It's because they're the LA Renegades. I was
Lemon
kind of
dogs.
mixing up. And I was having a conversation, and people have been calling them La Renegades. It's like, no, it's LA, as in Los Angeles Renegades. But yes, anyway, that aside, they are the teams. It is the Intel Extreme Masters, and there's a pause because Godby's PC.
Are you okay?
PC has
We
an
need
issue.
to wheel you out.
Just
Use some fresh air. Natu could help you maybe. Or Red Eye, he's got some great tips for casting if you need
Paul
some.
Parker.
Yes, Paul Parker,
Paul
the
Parker.
famous host.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with a break. We'll see you in a moment. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters here at Gamescom Cologne 2015. I'm joined by Lauren Pansy Scott for this one. It is going to be Mousesports up against Renegades. Just
Hopefully.
a round just happened. There was an issue during that, and hopefully it's going to be resolved by now.
Well, we're going to wait and see. We want to make sure it works and it doesn't obviously occur later down the line. So it's going to take a little bit of checking just to,
Fixing the
not
money,
rush
I think,
it.
as well. I mean,
And of course trying to catch it back up. But yeah, we're just going to give it a sec, but it should be fine, hopefully. Maybe. Who knows? Short breaks may happen, but still.
I'm seeing...
Looking at this one, I'm still looking at Renegades to maybe cause, not necessarily an upset, but get pretty close. But I do love the fact the teams are actually already starting to target Mouse in this one. I thought TSM would instantly go for maybe targeting Mouse because they actually have a very shaky record. If you look at them historically against each other, is overly close between two teams that it shouldn't be. TSM, hands down, are the better team, right?
And I like the
But
fact that the
still.
teams are already starting to get the gist of it. Like we heard,
they understand.
We heard TSM talking about, we're all right in Cobble, we're all right. And then immediately Happy's like, actually, I don't think they're very good in Cobble at all. I think we're going to beat them. And they did, 16-11. If you missed it, you can get it on it's plays.gg, I believe it is where there's going to be highlights of that matchup. Fantastic game to start the series off. Of course, that means there's a life lost from TSM. It doesn't mean they're in the lower bracket. It means the life is lost. Doesn't mean it's GSL format or anything like that. This format has not been tried and tested in Counter-Strike ever.
It's unique.
Unique is the word I would use for it.
Special. But no, it's I quite like it because you get to see the friendships behind the teams as well. Because I think someone spotted out there was Cadian walking backstage with Carrigan, and then was a little chat to each other.
He had that little
Danish hug going on. I'm like, oh,
he was the stand-in, remember, for Device.
Exactly. You can't write these guys out. But what else is going on in the background? Who knows? But Renegades still just kicking back. Hopefully, not too fussed just yet. But yeah. God, B looks happy at least.
Well, at least he's back at his PC, which is their main part, though he hasn't quite got an ear on yet on his headset. They were talking about the noise here, obviously. We are in Cologne. We are in a giant games convention. It is the biggest in Europe, I believe. Actually, I think it's the biggest worldwide games convention.
Sure,
size-wise, it is massive. Obviously, a whole load of games were announced yesterday, so this is where a lot of things do happen. Obviously, a lot of talk about E3 as well, but Gamescom is also the mecca, effectively, certainly in Europe, for all gaming fans that will come to it. And honestly, it's insane, because sometimes they'll just come and queue up for like 4 hours just to see one game.
5 minutes of a game. I can't do
I
it
don't
anymore.
understand it myself, but you know what? It works for these guys. And once you get that first glimpse of a game, I know what the excitement's like. I was young once. Anyway, we're just waiting for the teams to get themselves sorted out. You can see them there on your screen. Just waiting for them to sort it out. So the admins are working through it. So instead of listening to our beautiful voices for the entirety of this fix, we're going to go to Chobra, Anders, and Natu to see what they have to say about that exciting pistol round.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Well, we could talk about the exciting pistol round, but we could also save that for later, and we can talk about how exciting this whole tournament's going to be. Because we didn't get too much time to discuss, hash this through earlier, but already we have Happy just saying right off the bat, well, I want Mousesports to lose lives. I just want them out. I don't want to have to deal with them. Probably more confidently saying that because he already took a life off of TSM. Yeah. Pretty sure we wouldn't necessarily hear that if they lost a life to TSM. Things might be a little differently here. But I want to bring up a question. So, Anders, you said earlier, if you were playing in this match, no matter which team you win, and then you would have the remaining two teams, CLG and SK, play, because then you could have an alliance with everyone where it's like, all right, whoever plays that third match, just get the top two teams playing again in match number 1.
Well, in my opinion, it wouldn't even have to be an alliance. That's the great part. It would be, and you would have to rely on the common sense of SK and CLG. And I realize common sense is actually like a misnomer because it's really not that common. But if common sense really was common, then yes, either one would be picking TSM and Envy to play.
Now, let's look. Now, hypothetically, speaking because Envy already took that first map off of TSM, if we see that, and let's assume that every time they meet, Envy wins, right? So Envy actually maintains all 4 lives, and then we have 5 teams left. Don't you think that can start biting people back where Envy's like, all right, you guys, the game's over.
The plan would horribly misfire if Envy had all 4 lives. That would mean that they would be, in an incredibly strong position going into everything else.
You've seen those cartoons where you have like bigger fish, and then it's always a bigger fish. That's just Envy becoming a bigger fish all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be, that would be horrible.
I mean, think about it, right? Because if you're the remaining 4 teams, every time you play against each other, like you trade. Let's say you trade games, so you all have like 2 lives left by day 3. And suddenly Envy sitting there like, well, thanks, guys. Knock TSM out. Feel good. We're probably the favorites now. Yeah, I have 4 lives left. You guys can keep playing each other for the rest of the week, and I'll just play 1 or 2 more maps at the end, and I'll take the whole tournament. That could very well happen. Do you think there's a way to prevent that in terms of alliances? Like, do you think the remaining 4 teams are sitting there like, hey, listen, we, like Renegades and Mouse, will always play together, and then it'll be CLG versus SK every time, too? Like, is that a likelihood? Because that... at that point, it becomes like a very oddly controlled experiment.
But it comes down to who you are as well. Like the way you said, when you're more of an underdog team like a CLG or an SK here, you want to see the big dogs, the teams that are expected to win, TSM, Envy, and maybe, Mouse as well. You want to see those teams losing lives as much as possible to increase your own chances. So there's that fact that teams are going to think of this in a different manner.
Do you think there's any team, like, because when we get down to 3 teams left, right, at some point it is possible to play back-to-back games because the other rule takes priority, rather. Yeah. Do you think if, let's say, one of CLG or SK are left in the 4 to 3 teams, they're sitting there, they're like, you know what, we'll take the challenge because it'd be pretty sick for us to take lives off of Envy or TSM if they're left and for us to kind of get that advantage. Do you think anyone's kind of ballsy enough to do that, so to speak?
It could be. Yeah. I mean, like Happy was saying, this is a preparation for us for the major tournament. And I mean, during the major, you're going to have to try and beat TSM at some point, most likely. I mean, there's obviously like the randomness of the bracket, but still, so if Envy really do want to test themselves, playing TSM is maybe not such a bad thing, and maybe they could, try and seek that out a little bit.
That's true. Obviously, it leads into a lot of other things.
Yeah, for Envy, I think this is the best. Like I said previously, this is the best possible practice they could get. So they want to play against as many different type of styles of Counter-Strike as possible, because we have different types of teams here. TSM plays in one manner. You have Mouse that plays in a completely different manner, for example. So it's only going to be like this whole experience for them is very positive, no matter what, in that sense.
I mean, actually what I just realized as well is obviously because we talked to Happy and we asked him, well, what would the best map be if your fans want you to win? Which map should they vote for? Inferno? That obviously means a fan of any other team, whenever Envy is playing, should try and make sure that Inferno doesn't go
away from it. Yeah, you could also try to vote for Inferno on a different matchup so that it gets used up first. There's a lot of different possibilities here, but it looks like we're ready to jump back into our second match of the week. It is going to be Renegades versus Mousesports. They just went through the pistol round, and we'll go over to the casters and find out how the rest of it plays out.
Thank you very much, Chobra. I'm joined by Lauren Pansy Scott, and we are ready to go. Looks like the teams are ready to go. So let's go through what they've gone on board. You can see a lot of M4s coming out already for Mousesports. 3.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see it actually unpause before I get all excited. I start to get a little nervous. Oh, God. Please.
Console says 30 seconds. We have a timer. Except we don't actually have the in-game timer because that's at 12 seconds.
We're gonna wait and see, all right? As much as we love talking to you guys, and the desk probably does, you know.
We prefer talking about the game itself.
Exactly. All right. Hey, look. Matches unpaused, matches live. All right, we are good to go now. Everything's back to normal. The guns are going to be in the game, and we'll be actually kicking off round 2. So Mousesports did pick up the pistol, if I can use my words, because you threw me off with your lack of words earlier, you know. But still, we're back in this one. Chris Shea with that kind of infamous scouting, that aggressive, confident play. The guy is a bit of a monster with it, and hopefully we get to see a bit of use here. But on the other side of things, of course, just P250s, very calm, very collected.
Yam trying to match it with a P250 snipe. They knew it was coming. They were completely aware that was coming. But now we can see it's a 5-man stack from Renegades just outside doors. As it looks like he's going to be the first man to burst through. It's going to be a mid to B, is it? Let's see where they're going to go with this one. Sponge with the bomb actually heading to A, so maybe a fake here. I think they're going to try and fake a rotation. Spitty may be the man that will come checking. He's going down towards CT spawn. They're going to peek around the corner. Doesn't matter. Spitty just guns them all down. Next joins in from a crossfire of B, and now just Sponge and JKS. Last two standing. Chris J finds himself an easy one, and JKS will get gunned down here at door. So Renegades trying something different there, trying to go for the fake, but sadly the fake got shut down in its tracks by Spitty.
And Spitty the only man to drop out of that round as well. So Mousesports keeping decent numbers alive here. They're, you know, starting to back up the utility now with those M4s. But we are going to see the purchase coming out from Renegades in round 3. AKs beside them, a little light on utility for maybe what they'd want, you know, ideally. But it's enough to work with. It's enough to make a play out of. But Chris J still always such a presence in mid with this scout. He'll happily challenge people down with this, but again, Azza, should I say, and JKS starting to look through mid, starting to get some control, and just piece by piece they're going to start doing. But look at this God B play. He's going so aggressive here, just going to go for the peek up, using the smoke well, but players now starting to converge towards shore. He's going to have to try and back the hell up. Chris J is there to back him, and it turns the flash perfectly and regains control.
How aggressive did Chris J go in though, considering it was Gold B that was backing away there.
It's a quick mid to B though. This is perfect. Renegades can try and make the most of this. They know Chris J and Gold B were readjusting. Nex and Dennis now have to take this on.
Oh, we've seen Nex do this before. Can he do it again? He gets himself a double, but not to B. Azza does manage to cut him down, but Chris J's got his self-control of double doors where Yam is peeking. Bomb goes down from Azza. JKS is there. Gold B's going to be the man that hops up and over. Yam, he's not able to peek around doors. Chris J catches him out. So it's a 3-man retake from Mousesports, but it's a real tricky one because they're all coming from the same direction.
JKS is low as well. He can't really withstand much of this. God B is going to check towards that close side of side, but waiting just on the other side. There was one player. It's Azza again, but he only gets Chris J down. And I don't think there's enough time gained by Azza then, and the defuse will come through. So Mousesports keeping a nice clean 3. The early purchase coming in for Renegades, of course. Mousesports should be able to now extend this fairly well, but we are seeing the Tech 9s being brought up.
Yeah, AK collected as well. It's going to be handed off to Nex. So that'll be used over on B side. Got himself a double there as they pushed on through. Tech 9 force from the Renegades. Where are they going to head with it? Only one armor for Azza. Everybody else spinning off. This is going to be a decoy. A decoy? I can't use my words. I just can't use my words today. I don't know why.
It's a poor day to lose the ability of
They're
speaking.
trying to distract them, trying to fake it out. Chris J's ready and waiting for them. There's 3 of them about to come around from tunnel. He's going to have to back away from this one. He can't
Nex
challenge the Tech 9s up close. But as you say, Nex is there. Finds himself 1, 2. Will it be 3, 4? They line up for him.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's all
beautiful.
too easy. And well, just Sponge, the last man standing. He's going to go across catwalk, and Golby should cut him off here. Is he going to delay it for Nex to come around and pick the ace? No, that would just be foolish. Spitty will finish things off there. Nex gets himself a 4K, starting off strong here on the CT side.
Yeah, so already, second gun round pretty much coming in between these two. Chris J still sticking on the scout, not upgrading it. We've got Yam now with the AWP on the other side, so hopefully we might see a little bit more of a tougher bout for Chris J here, but
Cheeky.
as ever, aggressive, pushing out through mid, trying to get that opener, trying to do some damage, but you can see the aggression from the T side as well. They're pushing up long, but Dennis and Nex gaining full control by pushing out B, denying this kind of map control, or even just, keeping the options open for Renegades, because now Mousesports know, okay guys, focus mid, focus A, there's no one in B tunnels, at least the upper side. You guys can start really regaining this control, but as there is going looking, and he might be caught out here, but no, nice little bit of work towards Nex, takes him down. Expecting the second presence of Dennis, but the nade will do the job.
Very good close of the net there as well from Mouse. Golby immediately came around catwalk, tried to push in. JKS is going to challenge Golby. There's actually pushing down mid. Meanwhile, Havoc in on site here. Doesn't manage to take Spiddy down in a straight-up one-on-one. Sponge is going to come around the side, but it's another for Spiddy. He's just cutting them down as they come into long A. You shall not pass. He'll take them down. Now JKS in a 2-on-1. Dennis behind him on catwalk. Spiddy on site, knows exactly where he is. Tries to get the tag down, but Dennis comes in support from behind. And Mousesports close out the 5th round of the game. Starting to make it look a little easy here against the Renegades.
I'm not gonna lie, they're just being outplayed. It's not even tactically, there's the genius of Golby in this that I don't think we even need to see. Nex, 9-2, Spiddy, 9-2. Literally every time they've tried to go mid to B, they've been met by Nex. If they've tried to go towards A, maybe using short or long, is Spiddy there? It's like, well, where can we go? Where's our options here? Bear in mind then Dennis and Nex will start pushing up, not necessarily aggressively, but getting that map control, getting those B tunnels into their hands. It just restricts Renegades so much. So looking in towards this, finally Chris J has gone for that up. Sponge, Azza, Havoc, JKS taking their time, trying to keep control here. Yeah, I'm just watching that long push. Chris J is having a little look through, but to be fair, Mousesports allowing Renegades a little bit of play towards short, but Golby is where the buck stops.
Yeah, they're going to be the one that challenge him as a Sponge and Havoc all stacking up a catwalk. Chris J, though, on a quick rotate here. If he can get into position at car, that will cut them down as they make this play. Yam's the only man about to come around long A. Spiddy is ready and waiting for him.
The thing is, there's still so much utility on Mousesports. They can buy time here as Renegades have used all of theirs just to get to these positions, but as it's going to drop down the smoke, might allow them a little bit of a cheeky cross through, even a drop down towards CT, possibly. Chris J's flashed out. That's allowed a couple to seek through towards the site, but it doesn't matter. Chris J connects towards Havoc, but Azza's still there. Golby's gone down. The site's open, but I don't know if they can cross. There's still Spiddy along. There's still Chris J, and then there's Nex coming up, doing damage like that, and you're now in a 3v2, and the advantage is with the CT side, with Dennis now going for a walk.
Dennis will get around there. Sponge will cut him down, but Spiddy gets in, and now it's all on Chris J. One-on-one. He knows where Yam is. We've seen this before. We've seen Get Right doing this. He gets attacked, one on the same, gets himself the second. Chris J closes the round. And just as you thought Renegades had got a foothold in the game, Mousesports cut them down. It's 6-0.
There was such a small glimmer of hope, but I love the way Mousesports play. They constantly always tease the opponents like, okay, well, this round we're going to go really aggressive on short, so you have to put all this utility to try and gain control. Next round, they're like, screw it, we're going to play super far back. We're going to let Chris J sit by the cars, play a little bit by long. Golby will just play on the side itself, and it just makes it always a guessing game for Renegades. There's never an easy answer, and Chris J just finds Yam, and that's the perfect beginning to the 7th round for Mousesports.
It's a beautiful little flash peek he's been doing every round so far. Boost eventually will come out there. JKS gets one as Dennis goes aggressive in tunnels there. Nex also getting tagged up low, taking out to 13. I wonder if that's going to call for a full rotate. As has collected the AWP from Yam's corpse. They're not going to heavily rotate into it though. Havoc's got himself in pit. He's challenged on Chris J.
Brave challenge to make. Omniet joining him as well. Chris J does catch a good glimpse then, so at least he knows Havoc's still around there. Nade's not going to go that far, but still, everywhere else on the map, Mousesports have it fairly covered. B's looking a little weak because Nex was tacked up. They could surely see that. Of course, Dennis went down, but still, Spiddy now pushes up in mid. You can see him just on Cat there, falling back and forward, just keeping them busy, and then Chris J's just holding long. They've still got this map under wraps, and it looks like Renegades are going to walk into the trap on towards short. They do take down Spiddy, but will they be able to find Golby and Chris J, who are now surrounded?
A good flash onto Nex as well over on B side. They completely distract, try and sell the fake out here. Havoc's trying to get the one tap on Chris J. They still know where he is, but Nex comes around. Chris J delivers, and suddenly it's a 2-on-1. JKS all alone again against Chris J. And Nex this time, he finds one, but he can't get the second. And Nex, despite being low, still collects himself a double kill and makes it 7-0 for Mousesports.
7 rounds back-to-back. Renegades, they've had, I'd say, 2 close rounds. Personally, I think 2 of their plays towards A were pretty close. Outside of that, Mouse looked dominant as hell. Nice little shoulder peek, doesn't matter. Chris J's going to take down Yam. And this Take 9 buy-up coming out the T side. Really not going to be able to achieve much at this rate. And Chris J knows what they want to do. Chris J understands how they want to try and catch him out, make him play close to the doors, make him make a mistake. He's going to say, all right, next, you push up there, I'll sit back a little further, and we'll just keep this under wraps. It's, let's not give up guns here. Let's not do any, mistakes. Let's play clinical, and they are. And it's just brilliant to watch. Mousesports are a team to be genuinely feared, and you can see why Envy and TSM probably would target these guys as the next person in line after themselves.
Yeah, I mean, barring the Hellraisers results, they looked almost nailed on to win Takes tournament at the weekend, and it was looking inevitable, but it went through all 6 maps. Incredible stuff, but they did lose out to Hellraisers, so they are beatable. And at the moment, Renegades are coming up against a very confident Mousesports. Chris J gets himself a triple. Next pops out, finishes things off. JKS, the last man standing. Can he get next down? Takes him low, trying to make it as costly as he can. But he's in a almost impossible position. The net closes on him. And Spiddy from long A comes around top of mid. Gets himself the 8th round of the game. When Mousesports are looking this confident, it's going to be a real struggle. Now, Renegades did take it down to a couple of one-on-ones. They have got them close when it comes to the rifle round, and that's what we're going to see again.
Yeah, every single time we've seen them on the gun rounds, or at least to the vast majority, they bring it down to a lot closer rounds, but it never feels they're in control here, because there's always that danger of, they're still next, he's still going to come back in from B, or are they going to go aggressive? But Renegade speeding up the pace here. JKS, Azza, Havoc, all speeding up towards short, but look at this read from Mousesports. They have every single player on A right now. They understand exactly what they want to achieve, and there is a wall of Mousesports now just willing to greet Renegades at the door as Yam and Havoc, the last 2 alive. 2v3, Havoc pinned in, trying to fight out just out of the smoke. He does at least take down God B, but now Yam 1v2. He's finding it so difficult to go anywhere. The bomb's loose on the side itself, and I think he knows this one's almost a done deal.
Like you said, they read it perfectly. Yam this time with the AWP didn't want to challenge out mid. They read it. Chris J was already at long. He was there, and that's exactly where Yam was going immediately. Things got delayed, smokes went down, and Yam in a real tricky situation. But has he caught them off guard with this rotate? Next has a good position. Chris J on car. Now Yam's going to know that Chris is there because he's just been in an AWP duel. He knows where one is, gets himself on, spins around. Now it's down to him versus Chris J. Chris J with an AWP in hand.
The timing.
He's going to play it up close. The timing as he switches for the smoke. Chris goes for the peek and lands the shot on Yam. 9-0. And again, Renegades take it down to a one-on-one, but can't quite finish.
It's an admirable attempt every time. It's like, they got so close. They almost, had this, they almost had that, but it just still feels like Mouse have so much more to give. They can keep this pressure up, but still, maybe a couple of rounds being picked up would be just, a little bit of silver lining here, because Dennis looking like he wants to get a little close as well towards those B-tons. Going to sit on towards that left-hand side next, a little further back, just in case Renegades push through. But then again, I just don't see a weakness in the CT side alone. They're playing so well.
We haven't seen them really make an effort on B side, other than I think it was round 2 when the Mousesports managed to get the retake. That's the only time they really went there.
Well, they've tried a couple of mid to Bs, but then you look at how Mousesports are controlling B. They've gone aggressive several times. They put a hell of a lot of work towards keeping the utility there. It doesn't even seem like it's viable. And then again, okay, Dennis may not be the biggest impact player, but there's still next there. It's a very hard situation, even mentally, to think, that's a good idea. But then again, they've been getting so close on A, but sadly, close isn't good enough in these instances. They need these rounds. So Renegades might be lining up maybe mid to B play.
Azza's the only man that's got a smoke left, and he is in a position to go for that mid to B. We'll see whether he throws it out. Looks like he's setting up. No, they're going to change direction. It's going to be a catwalk again, which, well, God B is already in position for. Chris J is ready and waiting for it. So everybody's set up for this one. Where's Azza going to place this singular smoke to try and cover them off? It is going to be just up close, so it is going to try and cover off. But Chris J is not in the position. They're covering off towards Car, and We can see Chris J was off the side. Is it a fake? Yes, it is. It's going to work out well. Havoc comes around, gets himself one on Dennis, and Nex has now been cleared out. And while this is all happening, Yam's in there. Bomb plant. Is it going to come from Sponge? It should come down. There it is, just on the nick of time as well. Spiddy, only man standing in a 1-on-3. Finally, Renegades looking to get themselves a foothold here. Just anything. The best they can hope for is a 9-6. And they're going to have to try and pick up all the rounds running. JKS, great little kill for him at the end there. So good fake.
Yeah,
Renegades
really
playing
nice.
on the fact that they've basically hit A almost every single round.
Yeah, absolutely brilliantly done. They sort of hook, line, and sinker there. And Renegades did it well. They had their lovely mid to B split. My words are just gone as well, but still, they are playing well. This is a really nice touch coming out. And you can see the economy for the CT side, of course, is affected by this. They don't have a great deal of money into this one. You can see, okay, Chris J's gone for the AWP to kind of even things out almost, I guess. But maybe feeling confident. Godby's there with him on short, and these guys can turn these rounds if... Oh, are they doing the boost on short? I love it when they do this. This is why I pointed out at the start of the game. They could have had such an impact, but Nex will get it anyway. JKS goes down as are picking up the pieces, but I still feel Mouse are even dangerous on these rounds.
Yeah, and when you've got Chris J with the AWP now into the mid position, he's looking towards Havoc, and Havoc actually did get away from top of mid, but Godby creeping forward. While this is all happening, Renegades, the rest of the team pushing into tunnels all the way through T-spawn. So even though the fact that they're on rifles versus pistols, barring that one AWP, they are still playing this very delicately. Chris J's in the perfect position. They're all about to come through tunnel, and he's ready and waiting.
He doesn't get the shot he needed though, but the players are tagged up. They're going to start flooding the site itself as it goes down, but where are those T's? Has he spotted him out? He doesn't need to. He's taken down Havoc. They're right next to him. The damage is being done though, and now Godby and Spiddy have to pull this one back together.
Godby coming around tunnel. Sponge is going to be collecting the bomb just around the side there. Spiddy with that deagle as well. It is entirely possible here. And AK's been picked up by Godby on this way around. It's been smoked off. That's going to work out. Spiddy has to go for the distraction as Godby pushes on through. Godby's gone. Spiddy needs to join him. You can see he's going to get the spray down. Gets himself one. The last man pinned in the corner. It's Yam. The grenade's going to be on point. It's going to knock him down. And Mouse, with just pistols and a singular AWP, will manage to collect them round. And it will be 10-1 to Mousesports. They are looking unstoppable.
And Renegades are just perishing under the pressure of Mousesports at the moment. Whether it be pistols, whether it be gun rounds, it doesn't seem to matter. These boys mean business. And Renegades, they sold one brilliant fake play. It worked well, it looked good, and it caught out Mousesports. But that was one time. And you can see Mousesports going, all right, screw it. All right, we're going to do the same back to you. We're going to go onto this eco. We're going to sit here, and we're actually going to do it. So I believe Renegades need to have a discussion.
Yeah, tactical pause coming out from Sponge there. They got to figure out what the hell is going on. They're 10-1 down on the T side, and
you can see Chris's grin. Look at this guy.
He's very much happy about this one. This is a map that can go either way. It really depends on the team. As it stands, Mousesports have been unstoppable so far on the CT sides. 9 rounds back to back until Renegades finally pick one up, and well, with Mouse picking that straight back up, it's pretty much thrown Renegades' economy all out of whack once again. Yam really the only third person that's going to be able to afford anything meaningful, so possibly a Tech 9 force coming out from Renegades, while Mousesports are just sitting pretty. Their economy is not great because, as we said, they've been down to a lot of one-on-ones.
Yeah, but you look at the difference of the team. Renegades already look a little taken aback by this, and you know they are an experienced team. They have played together long enough, but when you see an in-game leader looking that quiet until he's just starting to pipe up, maybe they just need to talk it through. Maybe there's just small things they're not noticing. I don't know. I you know, being in their shoes, how the hell would you try and work out what's going wrong here? Because at the moment it seems that, you know, there's so many big, impactful players. You have Nex, you have Chris J, you have every single one of these guys going well, and even Spiddy having a brilliant game too makes this a very hard matter.
I remember having a discussion with Sponge in Malaysia when he'd actually, I think he top fragged in one of the games, and he's just like, that should not be happening. I should not top frag in this team. He's not doing it at the moment, I'll give you that, but Havoc is not having a great game. He is not really landing the kills. He's got the only kill of the round so far as Yam manages to deliver. These Tech 9s are working well. They are going to get it down to a 2-on-2, but Dennis delivers. And now Chris J and Dennis are facing Yam with a Deagle and a Hope. Now, if Dennis goes for this challenge, Deagle up close and personal could do a lot of damage. And Yam, with the bomb, making his way into B site. He's got the chance to be able to get in B, get the plant down. It's a minute now. He's going to hear the footsteps. Dennis Did he hear it? No, he didn't. He managed to get it timed perfectly. So bomb plant will come out from Renegades here. He's got to pass the door, though. Chris J's waiting. There's the shot. You heard it ping on the door. Didn't manage to land it, but they know. And it's going to be Dennis coming from tunnels. Yam's not looking. And it's going to be an easy clean up there. Orp will get collected. Mousesports will take it 11-1.
It's a bit of a landslide, isn't it? Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
There's not much more to say than that. It's kind of everything Renegades do is just being nullified by Mousesports, whether it be their individual play, whatever it is that stops them. They always have that answer there. And obviously that 11-1 scoreline supporting that fact. So, moment, we're going to see Renegades at least be able to get a good buy coming into this one. And this was actually a factor I was discussing with Sponge back when they were playing into the majors originally. The difference that they find playing against the EU teams and NA teams in comparison. We'll get back to that in a second, as Yam did catch a glimpse of two crossing there. Shot comes out, not going to find anything. And once again, we're back to this kind of situation. But with all the utility Renegades have, they could actually build something into this round that we haven't seen before. But he was saying previously, Sponge, that they find the only big difference in them is the fact that they can't just be so lackluster on their shots. They have to be able to perform instantly because there's no forgiveness. They can't have the time to adjust. It's an instantaneous impact that can happen, especially aim-wise against these EU teams. And now we are seeing them building up short, nice and quickly, taking control of this one. But then again, we know Chris J's on the site.
And they're doing the same again. There's going to be a catwalk to A side. Are they going to try and sell a fake? It doesn't look like it. Sponge is setting himself up. Let's see, actually, this may be a fake. Again, Sponge's position. Sponge is basically flashing himself in to nothingness. There's nobody with him. As a Havoc and Yamarol on catwalk, JKS down in lower tunnels. Are they going to try and sell a fake here? I don't think Nex and Dennis are going to fall for it either way. God B, Chris J set up perfectly. God B's actually gone for the rotate over to long A, so this is going to leave Chris J a little exposed. They're going to try and push straight up ramp here. Azza's going to come around the side. He has to find Chris J, and he is going to find Chris J. That's going to take the raid boss effectively down as Azza moves onto site.
And that was really intelligent from Sponge, pulling Godby down, Godby leaving the site. And now this is the first time we're seeing Renegades with a real chance here, especially towards this A side. But there's still Godby, and he's saying, oh, Spiddy wins out against Sponge. That was the fallback plan, but maybe JKS can be that for his side as now 2v2. Godby going in for the challenge. Does get the tag towards Havoc. You need to land that shot. He does. And now he's on the defuse. It's a lovely little round coming for Mousesports. Again, the retake was good. The kit's been picked up. Spiddy takes it over. But again, Renegades, just, you know, in theory, theoretically, their plan, it worked. They pulled Godby off the site. They brought their attention towards long. It was Sponge playing late there, those late flashes, that little bit of presence. They pushed it a couple of rounds ago, still fresh in their mind. And it did pull the players through. But it didn't matter. They still couldn't win out in the duels. They couldn't win out in the 1v1s. They couldn't hold the advantage. You allow like a player like Godby to retake on you like that, it's not a great sign.
Just 3 kills for Havoc, sadly, and he was the last man in that duel. When he's not delivering, Renegades are in a little bit of trouble. Top fragged over in Malaysia earlier on in the offline qualifiers for ESO on Cologne. But Mouse are going to get pressured here. Chris J trying to flash himself in. Dennis came in support and did get taken down, but the crossfire is in place from Mouse. As I was about to say, Godby gets dropped, but that smoke is simply only going to give themselves cover to get out, and they tried to get around. JKS tried to push around tunnels, but immediately Nex is there, cuts him down in their tracks, and now they're forced to go catwalk with Spiddy in position.
And everywhere they go, Renegades are just being eviscerated by the Mousesports boys, and Spiddy making it look clinical at the end. And Renegades are just having no impact. They're not getting the big frags. They're not getting any sort of explosive rounds. It's not making a dent in these boys on your screen, and there is a very good reason everyone's targeting them. We're seeing why, and on this map as well, considering people thought maybe Renegades could give them a game. I thought maybe Renegades could give them a game. Certainly not happening.
Big confident smiles on their faces. They're enjoying it, and look at this. Nex has gone down into lower tunnels. Is he going to come out on top? No, Azza will challenge, but Chris J pushing through doors finds himself the one onto Azza. But Godby just caught in the reload there. A little unfortunate. Now it's actually a 4-on-2 for Renegades.
Oh, but Chris J just got through. This is dangerous. He can actually do something with this.
Manages to land the shot down in pit. Dennis gets himself one over on B, and now the 2-on-2. Chris J's going to flash himself out again. He's going to get another peek here.
So confident.
Going to get a clean peek and a boost. Now, does he realize Havoc's on the side there? Havoc not having the greatest game. Sponge is really the only man that could have an effect here. He's the one running around with bomb. He's heading all the way around T-spawn. 50 seconds on the clock.
Dennis is going B tunnels though.
He's going to cut him off. They should be able to catch each other. Dennis has got to take this one slow. Oh, and they made footsteps. Sponge heard it. Sponge heard him get away. Now they know, but then Dennis is going to go rotate. Chris J's backed up to top of catwalk. Havoc really has to sell this fake so well, but this is a good crossfire. Dennis should land the shot easily there on Havoc. Havoc's backed away. Sponge bomb plant will come in, but this is a round they have to take.
Perfect.
Sponge does manage to get the shot. Now Chris J is all alone. Is he going to go for it with the AWP? He drops down. Havoc ready to just peek around, shoot him in the back. Oh, the shots come through, but he didn't land them. Chris J switches, gets himself an M4. Is he going to find Havoc? Havoc on next to no health. He's still making the run for it. He's just going to burst straight through window. Sponge is the man he's going to try and find. Tries to put the smoke down. Is he going to really try and fake out this defuse? No, Sponge is there. They pick themselves up their second round, but that is still a mega score for Mousesports. 13-2 in the first half. Renegades are going to have to be nigh on invincible to try and take down Mousesports here.
And even that round, Sponge played it so well. He knew he had to take that one-on-one. Otherwise, Havoc would be completely isolated. He wouldn't be able to get back towards the site and actually have any impact. So it's still so dangerous. I just think Mousesports are looking formidable on this map, and I don't think anyone's going to want to play them. It just on this map specifically, I don't know. It's just, you know, how well can Mousesports play against the other teams on, you know, on their favourite maps. This is why I love having the fan vote in it, because you could like have your ideal game coming through. You could get to watch, you know, your favourite team having to take them on, you know, this hard map that you'd never normally see because teams always ban it out. But we're back into this. 3 players playing through the lower B tunnels. Chris J next to Dennis, but Havoc and Azza having a bit of a go at what Mousesports tried against them.
Tried the boost. They are trying to stop them at the mid doors. It's not going to work out there. They're going to keep on pushing through. Brute force from Chris J does work. Azza gets one around the back. Now if he can collect them from the back there, he does manage to get around, but he didn't get the tags down.
Gobby's
he
behind
does
him.
manage to get another. They're going to push on through. Gobby, he's got himself CT spawn. It's now JKS in a one-on-one, and they really needed the pistol here. But immediately, the second he shows himself at window, he gets tagged up. He did get Gobby with a headshot, but the rotate from Mousesports, they're already on catwalk, they're already at A site, and JKS, well, now he's in a real tricky situation because they know where he's coming from.
Yeah, and Gobby got around the entire CT side then. He was able to pressure them from the back, not allow them to actually make that crossfire work at all. And as you said, JKS's position is known. He's got a defuse kit, so there is a chance he can work with this. Dennis and Chris J are low, and he does get the tag. Chris J goes down a little lower, 10 HP. He has to land these shots. 6 bullets, 3 now, and he's down, he's done, he's dusted, and Dennis picks it up. And this is Mousesports just striding through this match now.
Yeah, they should close this out with ease now. I think we're going to be looking at a 16-2. The UMP's being picked up. Scout once again for Chris J, which had a pretty big impact at the start of this game. Dennis with an AK. Next actually just feeling that confidence, going to stick with a Deagle. Let's see how it works out for him. It is going to be a 3-man push straight through to long A. Havoc gets himself one down, but Dennis will quickly respond.
I always love the Scout and Deagle combination, though, to be fair. You know, you tag one with one, you can always follow up, but nice little 3-man stack here. Could do a little bit of damage. Good flash comes out. Yam has the opportunity, doesn't get to use it. Spitty puts him to bed, and now Azza left in a world of trouble. Just using the smoke, trying to back away him, but he knows on 3 HP. He's in, you know, it's a matter of time, let's be honest.
It's a shame when you get that pop flash in a great situation like they did. 2 men to pop out. They have to land those shots when you pop flash out. And they just didn't. It just wasn't to be. And immediately, by the time the flash clears, UMPs, AKs just make short work of them. And now, match point, 15-2. This is pretty much a whitewash here in Game 2. Envy picked up their first game against TSM, knocking a life off TSM. And it looks like Renegades' lives are going to go down to 3 here, as Chris J looks to try and make one in the cross. And Sponge's head, the in-game leader for the Renegades, taken clean off his shoulders just in the passing.
I'd be so annoyed at that. I'd be absolutely livid, just because, of course, that would happen. Of course, it'd be the Scout through the door. Still, 2 rounds on the board. Renegades, for a little bit of pride, they could really do with some more. As it will at least stop Chris J having his way completely with short, but still, while all this happens, you see Mousesports getting themselves up towards B. Havoc is in a good position though, but they're already thinking about it. They already have that in mind. Spitty's found Azza, and now we're down to just JKS as last man standing.
He's actually pushed through tunnels as well. So he's trying to catch him off guard, trying to throw his position out. Dennis is going to go come peeking. He's going to leap around the corner. Dennis gets the spray down, but JKS will have the better of him, but that leaves him on just 67 hit points and his position now known. Godby already running with the bomb. That's going to A site. Just Nex and Spitty to cut him down, basically keep him locked in position. He can't leave B site. He's going to collect an AK down to 14 health. Time is ticking. Bomb is planted.
He picks apart every single peek he makes.
Oh, he gets the one headshot on Spitty, but now Nex is going to back away. The aggression might work in his favor, but he ran out of bullets. And Nex takes him down with an eagle. Mousesports, ladies and gentlemen, will take game 2 here at Intel Extreme Masters. And a life for Renegades will be lost. 16-2, big score.
Yeah, massive scoreline, and I think this is what we now need to expect from Mousesports. They are a team who can play at this international level. They can push substantially bigger teams than Renegades. And I hoped we'd have seen more. I knew this was a map that maybe Renegades could have done something on, but this is Mousesports now. These guys are competitors. These guys will turn heads, and I can't wait to see what they can achieve going into their next big major, and who else they can maybe take some lives away from at this event, because you're seeing Envy being wary of them. Bear in mind, they have an overall record against TSM of 5 wins to 4 losses. They're actually doing better than a lot of teams expect. So I think there's a real danger to these boys on your screen.
Absolutely. Commiserations to Renegades. They're not down and out just yet. They're down to 3 lives. Let's get over to the desk to take us through that decimation.
Decimation indeed. But before we talk about the match, again, we'll probably have a guest later on. We can break down the match a little bit longer. But something came to mind while we were watching that game that we didn't really think about. Anders, are Danish people inclined for national collusion or alliances? AKA TSM and SK, are they going to be like, listen, Denmark Pride, we got to represent. Let's try to keep both of us alive to the very end, because then at least the Danish team takes the win here.
Actually, between these two particular Danish teams, there's nobody I think that really sort of seriously hate each other. But I mean, between some of the Danish teams, there would have been some issues here where they would have probably been gunning for each other instead. I don't know. I've never thought about that. That is actually a good point. Maybe. I
mean, right? Because is that something that maybe throws the, the, so to speak, perfect system that you came up with of trying to get Envy and TSM to play against each other the whole time? And Mouse is like, well, TSM and SK, let's test that. Let's see how you guys do, how you feel about that. At the same time, now that Mouse has won, right? This is something to consider, not to. Mouse was put into this game because Envy was like, well, we want to try to put them up against an opponent maybe that is going to throw them off a little bit. And Renegades, clearly that didn't happen. And Mouse is now like, all right, Envy, why don't you go in the same shoes? Why don't you play against CLG or something and see how that plays out? Do you think that's a possibility to think about?
That would actually comes to an interesting time when it comes to picking teams. Are they going to go the route that Anders here suggested, where he's going to put SK and CLG play one another? Or are they going to go and put either Envy or TSM play another team?
Yeah, because
or each other.
When we discussed this in the very beginning, we discussed the whole concept that, again, it is all best of ones. And again, if you get to choose the teams after a map, maybe you know that there's definitely a higher potential for an upset, depending on the teams, because you're not used to playing against certain opponents. You could try to throw a wrench in there instead of just having Envy and TSM playing out at the same time, because like we said, that could also lead to one team just getting stronger and stronger because of the practice they get. Maybe they just win all the maps. So this is something to consider. What do you think, Anders? Are you having second thoughts about the system you created or the diabolical plan that you had earlier?
Well, you call it a diabolical plan. I still think this is common sense. This is almost like a scientific trial, actually. We're trying to test if people are going to choose what is, logical, or if they're just going to go mad and do whatever they want. I still think this is by far the better idea for every other team than Envy and TSM.
For the 4 other teams.
Yeah, 4 other teams should definitely band together, and yeah, it doesn't even have to be an alliance. It could just be common sense.
A matter of survival.
Yeah.
At least us 4 will be there on day 3, something like that, right? Just the fact that, well, if we can play on day 3, we can figure it out once we get there.
Well, here's the problem, though. Let's say that actually does happen, and TSM or Envy come out with like 1 life left to play the rest of the matches.
Yeah.
There's still a pretty good chance they could win all those matches with 1 life and never drop a single map. So, it's still an issue for the other teams.
It could get crazy.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, personally, obviously, because I'm just here as a spectator, right, watching these matches. I'm not all for the 100% logic. I'm for throwing a wrench in there.
Here's another thing to consider. It may seem like, you know, maybe they had time to practice, or maybe they had time to think about the system and really put into it. But then you think about how these teams actually pick maps during tournaments, and very often we end up with teams where we say, well, these are their best maps and these are the worst maps, so surely the pick ban stage should be fairly simple. They try and, you know, avoid their worst map and they try and play their best map. But actually sometimes the teams even screw that up. So I'm not even sure that like they can, I'm not even sure they can really like, you know, get to that level. I think maybe they should just focus on the game, and maybe they won't be like too caught up in that whole aspect.
All right. Well, vote is closing, guys, for the next match. The next map. Once again, I mean, just to clarify, once a map is played, we don't see it again that day. So Dust 2 is out. Cobble is out. No team is going to be playing that again for the rest of the day, as we only have 6 matches today. So ladies and gentlemen, finish your last votes over on the website to see what match number 3 will be played on. We are going to go over to the stage with a player from Mousesports and, of course, OJ to see what happens in game number 3.
Thank you very much, Chobra, and I'm here with Gobby as well. Let's first just talk through that game quickly. That was legendary, a real beatdown.
Yeah, Chris J was on point, and we had this time space to play.
It was one of those moments where everything you tried came off.
Yeah, I was pretty shit, to be honest, but my mates, they really carried me through this game, so yeah, we just had a good mood, played, we got things going. A bit lucky, I guess, sometimes, win the eco. Yeah, that can happen.
You make your own luck, and one thing that was said by Happy earlier on when he chose you was they fear you. They wanted to see you get knocked out, and then you put in a performance like that.
No, I actually wanted to play, because after watching the game, it was like a bit hot to play because it's cool, cool stage and stuff. And after we heard the map, Dust 2, we're like, okay, we can play anyone now.
We can take this. So now, as the winning captain, you have the power, which means we're going to select a map. So if you see on the screen right now, these have all been chosen by the community using your tweets. The percentage of the tweets works out what's there. Now, what map would you like to see turned over?
Inferno.
And why is that?
We like Inferno so much to watch, that's why.
That sounds like sarcasm. So, which box on this esports game show are you going to choose?
Finn, which box do you want? 5? 5, we pick 5.
Let's have a look at 5. What's behind 5? It is Overpass has been chosen. Thank you to Panos Mpoos, who voted for that one. Let's see what else was up there. We can see Train, Overpass. Lots of people voting for Overpass. There wasn't Inferno. Should have gone for number 4.
Fuck.
Apologies for the swear words. Let's keep it clean. It's a family show. So now we know what the map is going to be. It is going to be Overpass. So which team would you like to choose first to play that map?
Let's say CLG, SK, because they didn't play it yet.
So CLG and?
SK.
CLG, SK, you boys are up, you're taking each other on Overpass. Chobra, what do you think of that?
Well, so far, for now, the common sense is there, Anders. Let's not get too excited, right?
Oh, we should. This doesn't happen very often, neither in tournaments or the rest of the world. So
it's
go
true.
Common sense. Yeah.
We will have CLG and SK play on Overpass. What are your thoughts on Overpass coming up? Whether it's for either of these teams or just overall?
For me, definitely in this matchup, I feel like it's going to favor SK. It's been a go-to map for them as of recently.
Yeah.
However, there's obviously the thing where they have Nico playing instead of Freeze, so there's more firepower, but less team play probably. And it's going to be a bit of a problem when it comes to communication, obviously. I don't think Nico speaks any Danish, so that might be an issue there. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to be favoring SK.
Yeah,
what do you think, Anders?
I mean, it's what Natsu's sort of trying to calculate this difference between, you know, shifting out your communication for someone who's very strong. Nico has, like, I think the basic skill set to be probably in, like, the top 8 of European riflers, which means probably the top 8 of, you know, worldwide of riflers. He's an incredible talent, and it's actually very, very infuriating to not see him play more. Like, I wish somehow he could be, like, fast-tracked into a team that would just, like, take care of him. If someone was really smart out there, like some organization, they'd pick him up and sign him for a very long time, because that would be a very good investment. Anyway, in this case, I actually think Nico might just be that good that it might actually be worth trading it out and just saying, well, let's just have him go ham. Which is almost never a trade I would make. I would almost always favor communication over skill.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, it is a team game. Right?
Yeah. At the same time, CLG is a team where I've seen we were talking about Apex being very inconsistent. I think it's a team. CLG is like one where I was super amazed how they played against Fnatic at the ESL ESEA finals on Mirage. They were like reading Fnatic like an open book. But at the same time, after that, you've seen a bit of worse side of CLG. So I mean, which one of the two CLGs is gonna actually come and play? That's also a very good question to have.
That's kind of the question for a lot of these players, a lot of these teams, because again, some of them coming in to prove themselves, kind of as a preview going in. Of course, also it is the return of CS2, the Intel Extreme Masters. You win here, you get to have that title for Gamescom, and then you move on forward by next year to the World Championship. And of course, I mean, going forward, maybe you can try to pick up a different championship in San Jose later in the year. Lots of stuff coming up for Counter-Strike, but for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to break down the previous match a little bit more, and also more previews on the next match coming up between CLG and SK.